Hello, welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with Really Truly Ruthie. Chapter 4, Wishes Come True. Now, said Aunt Millie crisply when she and Thurgood returned from the bank with the money, Charlie and Ruthie, which one of you is going to take responsibility for bringing this money safely to Cincinnati? I think Ruthie should, said Charlie, which surprised Ruthie and pleased her too. Is that all right with you, Ruthie? Aunt Millie asked. Yes, ma'am, said Ruthie, nodding. She stepped forward and opened her pocketbook. Aunt Millie put the money into Ruthie's pocketbook, and Ruthie shut the clasp with a satisfying, secure click. She held the strap on with both hands. Nothing could separate her or Charlie from this precious money. Aunt Millie watched with approval. Well, Ruthie, she said, as Shakespeare says, some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. We've just had a great responsibility thrust upon you, especially for such a young sprout. But you've shown that you've had that stick-to-itiveness getting there. I'm sure it wasn't easy, so I think you're proving you can be trusted. Thank you, Miss Millie, said Ruthie, glad to have impressed her. I promise I'll get the money to Cincinnati. Thurgood cleared his throat. I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, he said, but I don't see how you're going to get back to Cincinnati tonight. You've missed the last train. What? Gasped Charlie right in the face. No! Wailed Ruthie. That can't be. We've got to get this money back in Cincinnati tonight. It has to be in the bank tomorrow or everything's ruined. Well, there's one more train that runs through Cincinnati tonight, said Thurgood, but it doesn't stop at Pockton or Lewis Falls. It will tonight, said Aunt Millie forcefully, raising her fist in the air. We'll flag it down. Come on, step lively now, everybody. We have a train to stop. The church hall went topsy-turvy and got loud again as everyone bundled up in hats and coats. Ruthie scrambled to put her socks and shoes on too, hopping on one foot and then the other, tried to keep up with the crowd. Outside in the cold, Ruthie saw the snow had stopped. The sky was clear, and the last rays of the setting sun washed the world in a soft pink glow. Around her, little children shrieked with delight and fell backward into the snow just for sheer pleasure of it. Every grown-up in town had a truck or wagon full of people, and every person carried an unlit lantern. Next hour was the most exciting hour of Ruthie's life so far. She scooped up and plunked high in the seat of a sleigh, and a heavy wool blanket was tucked around her legs. The sleigh did not look like the elegant silver sleigh that Kit and Ruthie had admired in the store window. It was made of rough wood that had once been painted red, and was pulled by two broad-backed black horses. The horses were so eager that they twitched and quivered, making the bells on their harnesses jingle merrily. Then with the truck horns honking, making wagon wheels clinking, horses' bells ringing, and everybody shouting, the wild caravan carrying down the road called the Hall Road because Logger used it to haul trees off the mountain. Ruthie memorized every detail of the thrilling ride. She could tell Kit how frosty air smelled like Christmas trees and felt smooth and cold on her face, how the blanket smelled like horses and felt scratchy on her legs, and how the sleigh whooshed so effortlessly over the snow that it seemed to be sailing. This is just how I imagined it would be to ride in a sleigh that Kit and I saw, Ruthie thought, only 1,000,000 times better. When the sleigh and the truck and the wagon slid into Pockton train station, everyone jumped out. They lined up long lines on both sides of the train's tracks, and passing the flame along one to the other, lit their lanterns. By now, the sky was blue-black, with only a slim silver moon above, surrounding by thousands of tiny stars. Here she comes, somebody hollered. All the people, young and old, tall and short, swung their lanterns so that the light arced and swayed in the darkness. The people shouted out too, and with a terrifying, ear-splitting screech, the huge black train skidded to a skidding halt. Sparks flew, and gusts of steam and smoke billowed out from the train as if it were a monstrous dragon breathing fire into a bitter cold night. Ruthie grinned. Even a ferocious dragon had to obey Aunt Millie's commands. A conductor leaned out of the space between two cars. "What's going on?" he asked harshly. "We're stopping your train, Earl," Aunt Millie answered calmly. "Is that you, Miss Millie?" the conductor asked sheepishly. "It is," said Aunt Millie. "We've got 2 passengers for you." "Oh," said Earl weakly. "Well then, all aboard." After one last hug from Aunt Millie, Ruthie and Charlie climbed onto the train. Everyone called out, "Goodbye, come back soon." "Soon, good luck," and Ruthie and Charlie. They swung their lanterns as they waved goodbye. Ruthie ran to a window and waved back wildly. She watched until the train went around the curve and the last lantern disappeared. Its lights gone off, poof, like a candle extinguished. Ruthie sank back into the seat as the train gathered speed. Even then, when she couldn't see anything but darkness outside the window, she was pretty sure she could still hear echoes of people cheering and calling out, "Goodbye, come back soon, good luck, Ruthie and Charlie." Ruthie certainly intended to be vigilant and to stay fully awake and alert every inch of the way home, holding onto her pocketbook with its hard-worn contents. It was warm on the train, and Ruthie was soon struggling to keep her eyes open. "Hey, Sleeping Beauty," Charlie said kindly. "Go ahead and snooze. Don't worry, I'll hold on to the pocketbook. You're losing your grip." So in spite of herself, Ruthie fell asleep and slept so soundly that Charlie had to shake her awake when the train pulled into Cincinnati. Ruthie rubbed her eyes. Her face was red and wrinkly because Charlie had rolled up his jacket and put it under her cheek for a pillow. Her hat was askew, and her shoes were so streaked with mud that they'd never be the same again. Ruthie yawned. She stumbled along behind Charlie, who carried the pocketbook and the empty lunch basket while they climbed the hill toward their homes. When they got to the Spinz's house, Charlie held the basket and the pocketbook to Ruthie. "Here you go," he said. "You can give the money to your father, just as you and Kit planned." When Ruthie hesitated, Charlie went on. "Would you like me to come inside with you and explain to your parents where you've been?" he asked. "No thanks," Ruthie said, distracted. She was glad it was dark out because her face was a little flushed. It was harder that she had expected it would be to tell Charlie the new plan, the plan that would make her possible her moment of triumph when she changed everyone's opinion of her and showed that she was a hero. Ruthie took a deep breath and made herself speak up. "Charlie," she said, "I've been thinking, wouldn't it be better if we gave your money to your mother right now and told her what we did? Told her what happened. Then she could bring the money to the bank tomorrow." "Okay," Charlie answered slowly, "if that's what you want." Charlie turned to lead the way down the street to the Kitteredges house, but then he paused. "Before we do this, there's something I want to say," he said, "and it's thank you. Our family is lucky to have a friend like you, Ruthie." Ruthie could not move or speak. One split second she stood stock still, the basket in one hand and the pocketbook in the other. And in that split second, the whole wonderful, terrible, exhilarating, exhausting day flew by in her head. She of all the people who had helped her so kindly, with such big-hearted, open-handed generosity, and with never a thought of thanks, she thought of Aunt Millie, who handed over the money without hesitation, purely out of love. She thought of Charlie, who had been her partner in the adventure, following her despite his doubts, trusting her more and more as the day went on. How nice it was to Charlie to give her all the credit, and how generous it was of him, and how wrong. Ruthie felt as if she had been under a spell, and Charlie's words about friendship had woken her up to a simple truth. She had gotten the money because the Kitteredges were her friends, not for praise and glory. Ruthie's sudden change of heart brought back with a change of plan. She no longer wanted to swoop in like the hero of a fairy tale and hand the money over and have everyone say, "Hooray for you, Ruthie. We are sorry we underestimated you. You have saved us." She did not want Mrs. Kitteredge to thank her. In fact, Ruthie squirmed at the thought of how disrespectful that would feel. Ruthie realized that the people whose opinions meant most to her were Kit and Charlie. They knew the truth, and that was all that mattered. Ruthie said, "I wish..." "Uh-oh," Charlie whispered, grinning. He winced and raised his shoulders in both hands, pretending to protect himself. "I've heard you wish before," he said, "and I've learned today that your wishes have a way of coming true. What's your wish this time?" "My wish," said Ruthie, "is that you and Kit don't tell anybody, buddy, I had anything to do with getting this money." Ruthie looped in the basket over her arm, opened her pocketbook, and gave the money to Charlie. "I think it would be better that way." "Are you sure?" asked Charlie. Ruth was very serious. "I've never been more serious about anything in my life," she said wholeheartedly. "Aunt Millie will tell my parents eventually," said Charlie as he put the money in his coat pocket. "Well," said Ruthie, shrugging, "just keep a secret until then. Or as long as possible, anyway." "Okay," said Charlie, smiling. "Your wish is my command." Ruthie smiled too and started to go up the steps to her house. When she stood in the glow of the porch light, she turned back and said, "You know what, Charlie? Thanks for coming with me today. I'm glad you did. I'd do the whole thing over with you again." From the dark, Ruthie heard Charlie laugh and then call out, "Me too." Then he added, "Goofy Ruthie." Somehow there was something about the way he said that made it sound like praise to Ruthie. A week later, Kit, Ruthie, and Sterling were in Kit's backyard looking at trees. Looking when the leaves were down was the best time to see all the branches. And all three friends were trying to choose which tree they'd build a treehouse in when they got a treehouse. "I guess we should say if we build a treehouse," said Kit as they wandered inside the kitchen to warm up. Because I'm sure I don't know when, if ever, we are able to build it. "I know you've wanted a treehouse for a long time," said Ruthie kindly. "Don't get up. Sometimes wishes take a while to come true." It was a cheerful, crowded house. Mr. Kitteredge, who had returned home from Florida the day before, was sitting at the kitchen table folding napkins and telling the boarders, Charlie and Mrs. Kitteredge, about his trip. "Of course, the best part of the trip was coming home," Mr. Kitteredge said, "especially when I found out that we saved from eviction just in the nick of time. Now that was a wish come true, thanks to Charlie here." Mr. Kitteredge thumped Charlie proudly and lovingly on the back. "Ruthie," said Charlie, "you're the expert on wishes. I'm wondering, can you ask another person if he can override her wish? If you say yes, you'll make my wish come true." "Mine too," Kit chimed in. Everyone looked at Charlie and Kit as if they were crazy. Everyone except Ruthie like this, who smiled a tiny bit and gave Charlie a reluctant nod. "Yes," Ruthie said. "Good," said Kit, smiling broadly at Ruthie. "Very good," said Charlie, "because I want to tell you a story. It's a true story about people we all like. In fact, the hero is Ruthie. Not the Ruthie we thought we knew, but really, truly Ruthie. My story has a happy ending, and like all wonderful adventures, it begins once upon a time." And that's the end of Really Truly Ruthie. I hope you enjoyed that. See you later.